Do you know what? I can actually feel like a bit of a tinge in the back of my throat, like that I can feel my throat's going to wear out. So I really hope that by the end of this hour, my throat doesn't die.
I'll carry.
You'll carry, yeah. See, what it'll have to be is you'll have to finish the stories because you know all of them, so you have to make sure you finish.
I know your entire weekend. No, I'm actually very excited to hear about your weekend. So
yeah, I'm sure everyone at home is who's listening. So why don't we talk about me meeting Jodie Whittaker? You know, why don't we talk about all that?
I would love for us to talk about that.
Sounds like a plan to me. Roll the intro. Hello and welcome back to Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast. We're on episode 3 of the show where two YouTubers get together and talk about Doctor Who. I'm one of your hosts, Troy, also known as Red Archer Live, and with me, the person in this call who didn't meet Jodie Whittaker this weekend, Crispy Pro.
That's me.
I don't know why I need to rub it in. Like that. Yeah, that was so mean. Rub it in. That was so mean. He's been bullying me in the call for the last 25 minutes, so this is my way of getting revenge. It's my way of getting revenge. So trust me, it's 100%. Justified. It's justified. It is justified, I promise. I should specify at the start of this recording, I did go to a concert last night. Anyone who's heard of Pale Waves, you're very cool. I don't imagine many people have, but if you have, then I like you a lot more. Paul's definitely heard of Pale Waves. He definitely has.
Oh, yeah. Paul knows Pale Waves through and through.
In my infinite wisdom, I basically screamed along to every song that they did. So there's a chance this episode might be shorter. And if it is shorter than the usual hour, which you'll know when you're watching or listening to this, then my throat gave up and we stopped recording. So bear in mind, it could be a shorter episode. But today's episode is going to be very slightly different because, as I teased in a little intro gag, this was a pretty big weekend for me. It's sad that it wasn't for Crispy. I really would have liked if we both could have gone. But unfortunately, a flight to the UK from Australia is not as cheap as a train is. And even then, the train wasn't very cheap, but that's by the by. But it's better than a plane, I'll tell you that much. God, I still can't believe how expensive flights to Australia are. When you told me that last week, I just thought, oh no. It's crazy.
We're never going to meet up. We're never going to meet up.
It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Well, you get big from Doctor Who YouTube or from all your amazing jobs and stuff and then fly over. I'll just stay unemployed.
I will try.
You know, because for the record, I'm literally having a bit of a break after I finished university. I'm not actually unemployed. I mean, I kind of am.
You don't have to justify it. You don't have to justify it.
I don't want people judging me. I don't want to be judged. Okay?
Enjoy yourself.
I had
Mate,
stress.
the only thing people are going to be saying about you is the fact that you met Jodie Whittaker.
They are
That's
indeed.
All I've said.
So that's what we're going to be talking about because I went to London Comic Con Spring this weekend where there were a number of Doctor Who cast members attending. Unfortunately, one of the ones I teased last week did cancel, Bernard Cribbins, who was one of the ones I was most excited for, so I'm really sad that he did cancel that, but everyone else that I met, so Jodie Whittaker, Mandip Gill, Colin Baker, and Sylvester McCoy, will be talking about all of them in this episode. Before we dive into the meat of it, we have got some news to talk about, but before we even get into that, I'd like to remind everyone watching/listening that on Spotify, there is a Q&A section and a poll section. You can answer both of those while you're listening. If you just look right below the playback bar for the episode, you'll see both of them. This week's question for you to answer the Q&A for next week is, what would you like to see in the 60th anniversary special? Are there things you'd like to see, certain doctors you'd like to see come back, certain monsters, certain plot points in the story? What do you want to see? Let us know, because next week we're going to be doing a special 60th anniversary episode talking about what we'd like to see in that special, and there will also be a poll underneath as well, so you can answer the question that we've got. I haven't decided on the question yet. I'm sure I'll think of something brilliant while I'm editing it. We probably should have decided that before we started recording, but you know what? Finger on the pulse. We plan things
on the pulse.
We plan things miles ahead. It's amazing. So, have we got any questions in particular that we'd like to look at before we go into the news section for today?
You know what, Troy? I don't know.
He says when we spent literally half an hour with these open on screen, so I'm exposing him now. So I'll tell you what, since I'm the only one who's looking at the questions, bro, I'm the only one, clearly. We got a question here from Super Theory Rockstars, who asks, what is our favourite monster? So who wants to take this one first?
I will. Troy, you are my favourite monster.
Bro, what?
How is he taking that? Oh my gosh, you could dish it out, but you can't take it. Huh? Yeah, that's right. Crispy's not messing around this week, baby. Crispy's not messing around.
Okay, I'm just going to cry onto my signed Jodie Whittaker pop vinyl.
I know, I'm just mad because you met Jodie. I'm literally just mad.
That's going to be my only ammo this week. Every time you upset me now, I'm just going to throw the Jodie back at you. I'm going to throw the Jodie.
I understand. And I know it's coming to. No, but in all seriousness, I have the biggest soft spot for the silence. because that was like one of my first proper Doctor Who villains, and I still think they're probably the creepiest in New Who. I don't know if they've been topped in terms of creepy factor.
Yeah, I feel like that's true. That is true. I really like the silence, but I also I'm going to stick with my overweight zippy head boys from last week. I love the Slitheen. I am fully on the bring the Slitheen back bus. I want them back. I loved them. I should have
put money that you were gonna. I should have put money that you were gonna say that, because I know you love them.
Yeah, I remember when I was a little kid, I actually wants to be a Slitheen. I don't know how that makes any sense, but kids are weird.
You wanted to grow up to be a Slitheen, or like for a Slitheen?
I feel like I just wanted to have a zip on my forehead. I don't know. I was weird. Kids are weird. I think we all know this. Kids do weird stuff, and if that was the weirdest thing that I did, then I lived a pretty decent childhood. So.
Amen to that.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Remember, though, as always, if you have any questions you want to ask us at the start of episodes, you can leave them in the YouTube comment section. You can leave them in the Spotify Q&As. We'll talk about those as well. Last week, we asked you, we're not doing a Jax Films intro there. We generally did ask you last week, who you've met out of the Doctor Who cast, and if you haven't met anybody, who would you like to meet? And we got a reply from Fanzy via Spotify, who said, firstly, I might not be the Paul you're looking for. I'm enjoying the podcast, though. But as to who I'd want to meet, the entire main cast of the Matt Smith era, and I'd like to have Matt Smith himself sign my fez. So thank you, not Paul. I mean, it's really sad that your name isn't Paul, and I'm taking that personally. But yeah, getting Matt Smith to sign your fez would be a pretty cool thing. I like that. I like that a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah, getting anything signed from the actor would be cool, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it?
Do you have anything like that, Troy? Do you have anything like that?
I don't have anything like that. Of course not. No,
you
nothing
wouldn't?
behind me at all. I will say one thing as well. For those of you listening on audio platforms, if you are at all able to watch the video version, it might be a shout to do that this time. Only because the things I'm going to talk through, I'll have pictures of different things signed, like signed memorabilia, photos I've taken with people, so they will be going up on screen in the edit, or I might show some on the camera if my ring light can reflect well. Point is, there'll be a few things being shown, so if you actually want to see them, the video version's worth checking out, so just as a little kind of thing there. But yeah, so that's a couple of questions you picked out from this week, but let us know your questions, whether it be about us, Doctor Who, the topic of next week's episode, the 6th anniversary. You can hit us up on Twitter and Instagram at Who's There DW. There's a YouTube comment section, Spotify Q&A. I don't believe Apple or Amazon have anything like that. You have an iPhone. Does Apple Podcasts have anything like that?
I couldn't tell you. I don't think it does. I don't think it does.
Wow. The man giving Apple money doesn't even know.
I've never tried. Never tried.
Who does all the work here? Who checks these things out? Honestly, I'm just disappointed.
You.
And remember to rate the podcast 5 stars on all audio platforms.
5 stars.
Leave reviews. Thank you.
Stars.
Thank you.
5
Much
stars.
love.
5 stars.
Much love.
Thank you.
And blowing kisses. I don't know how well it works on the mic. I mean, I didn't even hear yours on your side. So yeah.
Oh really?
That's amazing.
No, you never hear my kisses. Oh.
No, your noise gate just cooks you. It just cooks you.
Oh.
Oh. Anyway, Sam. Before we talk about London Comic Con Spring, shall we talk about a little bit of news that came out recently? Would you like to take the helm on this, Mr. Pro of Crispy?
I would very much like to. So you know how we said that next week we're going to have a big episode dedicated to the 60th anniversary?
We did indeed.
What if I told you we had some news this week about the 60th anniversary?
I would say it could be heavily steeped in rumour because it's from The Sun in the UK, I'm pretty sure, but still want to hear about it.
Word of warning for everyone. Take this with the biggest pinch of salt that you can, because this comes from The Sun, which are notorious for some headlines not coming true at all. But in all fairness, some of the headlines have come true.
And they're also just not a very good UK newspaper. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, Go for it.
Well, this little Australian had a read from it, and apparently the big rumour is that Jodie Whittaker, Peter Capaldi, Matt Smith, David Tennant, and Christopher Eccleston will all be returning for the 60th anniversary in 2023. Apparently, Russell T Davies is trying to recreate the charm of the classic episode, The Five Doctors. I find this incredibly hard to believe.
Me too. And it's also worded differently to the one that I read. There was on a site called TV Zone, I think, that interpreted it. And I think they were just saying he was pulling multiple doctors and didn't specify who. So it's very clear that this is like, it's people are trying to make assumptions from the rumour. But the general idea of there being, I think, was it like a special for each doctor? Was like kind of where they were going and then also a team up? Or
That's the thing. Like, it's very, like, it varies on wherever you read this news. Right now, this one doesn't mention anything of, like, solo Doctor Adventures, like, special. But I have seen that somewhere else, so I don't know. I do not know. But apparently, like, what I'm reading right now is that this episode would act as a pass the baton episode to David Tennant, because we all know that David Tennant's coming back. So
Wait, David Tennant's coming back, is he?
yeah, he's confirmed to be the 14th Doctor.
Oh, yeah, you should have watched episode 2 of Who's There, Doctor Who podcast, and you know all about that.
You'd know all about how honestly, David Tennant is in the bookies twice.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. That was very strange.
Who knows? So yeah, apparently that's what's going to happen. Some reasons as to why I find this incredibly hard to believe is one, that Christopher Eccleston said he would only come back to Who when hell freezes over, because I don't think he has the best working relationship with Russell.
That is indeed what he said on live TV, because he was interviewed by someone in the UK called Lorraine Kelly. She's like a TV host. If you don't know, it doesn't really matter. But she interviewed him when he was going in to record some of the Big Finish audio stuff. And she said to him, now you're doing the audio stuff, does that? And he literally went, I know where you're going with that, Lorraine, and hell will freeze over. He said that word for word. He's like, it's still not going to happen. So, like, because I think the reason he got into the Big Finish audio stuff, I mean, he has said part of it was for the money, which I greatly respect, and I feel like more actors should just be honest about that, because it is a job, a paid job. But I feel like, him, because I think he said a bit of it was seeing everyone at conventions years after, still wanting to meet him, still telling him how good he was in the role, and reminding him that even though he was there for a short time, he is still greatly beloved. So yeah, I think that definitely made a difference. So you could argue maybe Big Finish might be a good bridge over, but it sounds to me like he still doesn't really want to work with Russell again. So unless there can be some kind of gap being bridged, I don't see that happening. And then same for Peter Capaldi. We discussed this last week. He said that... We did discuss this last week, yeah. Yeah, he said that, multi-Doctor specials, the more you do, the more they lose their touch. You could argue, though, that if Russell's going to do one anyway, Peter might go, well, why not be in it? But I don't know about that. I feel like it's more likely for Capaldi to come back than Eccleston. I feel like Eccleston out of the two, yeah.
would be the hardest one to get. Like, I don't know how good Russell's apologies are, because I feel like I don't know if he ended on the best terms with like Russell and Julia. What's her name? Julie Garner. What's her name?
The problem is we don't know what actually happened, because he just said it himself, and 3 people at the top of the chain clashed. It could be people above Russell at the BBC. We genuinely don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
We're all presuming it's Russell T Davies, Julie Gardner, and Phil Collinson. It might not have been those 3. We genuinely don't know, because they worked together before, Russell and Christopher. I nearly said Chris Nolan. I don't know why I nearly said Chris Nolan. Christopher Eccleston and Russell T Davies worked before already on The Second Coming, a TV show, not the actual Second Coming, for the record. You didn't miss that happening 20 years ago.
They're behind it. Yeah, that's crazy.
I need to watch that. I remember. I don't know if you've seen the Doctor Who documentaries that go out that are like an hour and a half long. I can't remember the guy's name. Is it? Can I say his name? Because it's got... we're trying to be clean. Clever D Films, we'll say that. But he does like the Doctor Who review documentary, and he looks back at each Doctor's era, and they are phenomenal things. I think he puts them all together on his own, which is astounding. Wow. If you've not seen these, I'll have to link you one.
I don't think so.
He does like the Christopher Eccleston era, the David Tennant era. They're fantastic. And the Christopher Eccleston one talks a little bit about Christopher being in The Second Coming, and how that was kind of like a bridge for him working with Russell, because it was a Russell show again there. Yeah. So... they've worked in the past before and not had a problem, but I think there was some pressures on the set as well. There were some things they were like, they were 3 weeks behind after 2 weeks of shooting, they said, for Doctor Who. So there was definitely stress on the set. So it's hard to know exactly how they're going to, bring Chris back, if they're going to manage to bring him back, because Stephen Moffat nearly managed it.
It'd be incredible.
Moffat nearly managed it for the 50th.
He did almost. There was a whole script for the 50th. Like, I don't know, like Moffat... Like, props to him. I know some people aren't the biggest fans of Moffat. I respect the man so much, because he was under so much time pressure for the 50th anniversary, and the man made like 5 different drafts of the thing just in case, this person couldn't make it back, this person couldn't make it back. Like, there's storyboard frames out there right now of what it would have looked like with Christopher Eccleston if he returned instead of getting the late John Hurt in. But yeah.
Which, to be fair, I am, as much as I adore Christopher Eccleston, and I really do love that man, I am glad he said no because we got John Hurt, and while I love Chris Eccleston, John Hurt was he's a class act. I love that man. And
phenomenal.
It's still sad that he's not around anymore, but he was absolutely phenomenal. He was phenomenal.
He worked very well alongside David Tennant and Matt Smith in that episode. And
he did.
Segueing back onto
Speaking of those two.
Speaking of those two have stated numerous times in numerous interviews that absolutely they would love to return.
And they will.
Absolutely.
Like we can say with almost complete confidence. But you know what I want the most out of all this? Because what I'm thinking of is if they want to do 5 Doctors, they need 5 Doctors for starters. Jodie is going to be difficult. Only because she'll have just left. And I feel like for her that'd be very weird to kind of be pulled back in after just deciding to leave. But also, she is pregnant. And as I'll discuss...
Didn't even think
when I was there in London, I couldn't guess completely because she had a really baggy shirt on. I know the point is to draw away from the pregnancy, so I'm sorry for pointing it out almost. But she did look quite heavily pregnant, so she's probably going to be having her baby in the next couple of months. So she's going to be having the baby and then looking after the baby. Is she really going to want to be donning on that grey trench coat again, months after when they're supposed to be starting filming next month? That's the rumour, isn't it? So that's going to be a problem for her. But for me... the thing I want the most, if they actually do a special for every Doctor, I want to see a Paul McGann episode.
Was about to bring that up.
That's what I want the most. That's what
the fan wants.
I love him, and I know I haven't seen a TV movie in years. I need to rewatch it. That should be an episode for us to both. Have you seen the TV movie at all? Have you seen it?
I've only seen the start about 1 billion times, and I don't know why.
If we can get it to work, we'll see if we can watch it together. We'll see if we can.
I
would
love that. I would absolutely love that.
Podcast right after. That's a shout.
Oh, that's so nice.
Stay tuned on that. Stay tuned
for that.
But the movie, from what I remember, it was good. It wasn't amazing, but it was good. Paul McGann was the standout. But it's that Night of the Doctor special. It's that little 5-6 minute thing or 8 minute thing, however long it is for the 50th anniversary, that just shows you how wasted that man was. Of course, again, I love Chris Eccleston. I'm so glad we had Chris and David and Matt. The way we got it, I would never change it. But I wish we could also have Paul McGann in there. You know, people keep saying, well, what if Doctor Who did kind of like a slate like Marvel do and they have a couple of spin-offs and things and really get a new era of Doctor Who? If you ever do a spin-off and you don't do one for Paul McGann, not good enough.
What are you doing?
Not good enough.
What are you doing?
People saying they want a Fugitive Doctor spin-off. I love Joe Martin. I love the Fugitive Doctor, but out of the two, I would rather see a Paul McGann spin-off first. The man's been in the franchise for 26 years now, and he's had a movie and an 8-minute episode.
I reckon we've almost had the exact same
runtime out the two.
The fugitive, for the Fugitive Doctor. That's crazy.
By the end of the centenary, it probably does even. You might even have more for the Fugitive at this point. You genuinely. But I love. Don't get me wrong. I do love Joe Martin, and I'm not saying she should.
Absolutely. She's kick-ass.
She is phenomenal. She's brilliant. I really, really like her. But Paul McGann, he's my boy. I've backed him since I was younger, and I really want to. I've seen him in person. I've never met him. But I remember there was a little in conversation thing they did where some guy would interview him about his whole career, and I went. It was years ago now. It must have been about 10 years ago. I think it might have been pre-50th anniversary. I actually think it might have been pre-50th anniversary if I remember correctly. But he was talking to someone in an interview and everyone was watching the conversation happen. It was really odd, to be honest. It's kind of like a Q&A, but I don't think they took a couple of audience questions, but not much. But I didn't actually directly meet him. But speaking of meeting people, should we move on to Comic-Con Spring? That's our news.
Segue.
So before, obviously, we move into
that's all the news.
As a question, do you think this report is credible about Doctors returning for specials to try and make the 5 Doctors? How credible? Do you think it is completely credible, not credible at all? Kind of credible? Who do you think will return? Who would... My English is amazing. Who do you think might return? Who would you like to see return? Let us know. But yeah, let's talk about London Comic Con Spring, which is where the format of the episode might be a little bit less organised, because it's going to be a lot of rambling, because a lot of things happened that day, and my head still
I need you to tell me about it all.
Yeah, it's my head still hasn't kind of focused with it. Yeah, Paul Crispy here was begging to know what happened on the day, and I said, no, you wait until the podcast. You wait until we record it.
I know. And then we delayed the podcast today. I'm like, come on.
Let me illustrate this for you. I live not far from Liverpool, right? That's where I'm based. I've said that before. I don't need to dox myself because I'm not being very specific. But we have to go from the Liverpool area to London on a train, which takes a while. It takes a while. We're talking over 2 hours to get there and get back.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time on trains. We had to get up at when my mum got up at 3:15, she came with me, bless her, because I was going to go myself.
Oh.
And then as soon as they announced Jodie, my mum went, right, I want to come with you, which I thought was hilarious.
Oh, that's so
she
lovely.
wants to meet. I know.
So nice.
I thought it was so lovely. So 3:15, she got up because she needed a bit longer to get ready than I did. I got about somewhere between 3:30 and 4 o'clock in the morning. So we already got up very, very early to go there. And by the time we got back, it was like 11 p.m. So we were destroyed by the end of the day.
Wow.
Sunday, we didn't get up till like 1 in the afternoon. So on Sunday, my brain was just closed to visitors. So I just had to relax and switch my brain off. And then I was like, no, we're just going to wait till the podcast. I thought that was the best call. We were going to record it yesterday, and then we didn't because you said Wednesday was better. So your own fault.
Yeah.
You dragged it out there. You dragged it out.
True.
Yeah, it's entirely your fault. So now he gets to hear the story, so he's just as excited as I hope that everyone else listening is.
I am.
But yes, so I'm going to talk about what happened, some of the stories from each of the people, and I will also give my thoughts on the con, because I do have some kind of positives and negatives about the convention. What I will say is that I've been to quite a few Comic Cons now, and while it did have its flaws, and I will get to them, I had an absolute blast at the convention, mainly obviously because of meeting the people that I did. It was an amazing time. So let's get into it. So when I found out about the convention initially, I was going to go purely to meet Mandip Gill and Bernard Cribbins. I think they were the only two Doctor Who people that were confirmed, and I was like, I want to meet the two of them. Bernard in particular, because bless him, he is getting on a little bit, and it's nice that he's still doing these conventions. Because I think he's like, I mean, I don't want to show him up for his age, but I'm pretty sure he's like 95 now or something. Like, he's an absolute legend, but you're thinking, like, you know, at some point he's going to want to kick his feet up and relax and not go to many more conventions, you know what I mean? Like, it's so sweet that he still goes to them. I think he was meant to be going to the convention last year, because this convention, there's London Film and Comic Con, which happens in July, I believe. I think last year it happened in November, and it was delayed or something because of COVID, no doubt. And then there's London Comic Con Spring. From what I know, you kind of get both of those in the year, or maybe it swaps in and out, I'm not too sure. So he was a delayed appearance from then, but unfortunately, he cancelled again for this one. We literally got an email on the way on the train saying, unfortunately, Bernard Cribbins has cancelled and refunds will be sent. And funny enough, my phone pinged while we were recording the intro saying, your refund has been processed. That's good. Thank you. After the Pale Waves gig yesterday, I need the money. So thank you very much for the prompt refund. Bro, I'm telling you, merch stores, that like, when the merch is more expensive than the ticket, you know it's questionable. But I wanted merch.
That's crazy.
Well, I think the ticket for the gig was like £24 and the shirt cost me £30. And it was like, that's expensive. That's well for you. Like, hang on, let me Aussie it up for you, mate. That's 60 Australian bucks.
That's $60.
I know. I really begrudged it, but I wanted a t-shirt
$60 for
from
a
it,
t-shirt?
So. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
My
I hate myself for doing it, but I wanted one from the tour, so
right.
whatever. But that's beside the point. He cancelled on the day. We don't know why. Hopefully everything's fine with him. I hope he's okay. But he cancelled. So instead, the people I were meeting on the day were Jodie Whittaker, Mandip Gill, Sylvester McCoy, and Colin Baker. I wish I'd recorded my reaction when I found out Jodie was going to be there, because the funny thing with it was that showmasters, people who run these Comic Cons in particular, they were doing like these massive batches of guest announcements, and they had one where they were going, right, we've just landed a guest, it's their first ever time at doing signings at a convention, it's a really big one, we hope you're all excited. They didn't give a single hint as to who it was. There were no even Doctor Who themed hints, there was no way to assume it was Jodie Whittaker.
Wow.
But everybody I knew on Twitter replied to every tweet going, is it Jodie, is it Jodie, is it Jodie, is it Jodie? And knowing that it was her, I don't know how they kept that quiet. And I don't know how everyone kind of guessed that was where they were going. Maybe they thought because Mandip Gill was going, it would be natural to assume that Jodie might.
It'd be nice if but I don't know that if they gave no hints, like I don't know
exactly.
And considering she's never done anything like this before, I don't know.
Yeah, and in my head I was thinking, you know, it's going to be a lot of money to get down to the convention to meet Mandip and Bernard. I want to meet them, but is it going to be financially viable? How's it going to work? And then they were teasing this guest, and I just kind of said to myself, went right, if this is someone that I want to meet as well. Well, it's obviously going to be a big person because they're teasing that, but big or small, whoever it is, if it's someone I want to meet, that'll clinch it. I'll go. And then they said they're announcing Jodie Whittaker, and I lost it. I genuinely wish I'd recorded because I was just like, what? It's Jodie? What? What's going on? It was crazy. It was absolutely ridiculous. And I immediately went, I'm going. And then my mum saw it, and she immediately went, I'm going. So...
That's so sweet.
Yeah, so we both did cosplay as well. I don't know whether my mum minds me sharing a photo of hers. I'm sure she won't mind. So hopefully on screen now you'll see me cosplaying as the 12th Doctor from Lie of the Land with the nice little kind of Victorian old-fashioned coat with the cuffs out and everything.
Nice.
And my mum went for the Jodie Whittaker cosplay, which you can say I played a part of, which is quite cool because I have like the welding goggles. I just bought them as like a little gag thing, and I also have a scarf, and I gave them both to her and went, do you want these with the outfit as well? And she was like, yeah, so she tried them on. I was like, perfect. Like, she looked brilliant. Her cosplay was so good. She's done a few cosplays, bless her. We've been to a few. She's done, like, Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. She's done Coraline. Like she do
cool.
proper
Wow.
invest in the cosplay stuff. I love it. I really
Your
do.
mum's way cooler than mine.
Yeah, genuinely. Well, I don't know about that. I haven't met your mum, but I'm sure she's
Nah, my mum's
lovely.
pretty
Mother
cool.
Crispy. Is that we
My
call
mum's
like
pretty
Mother
cool.
Crispy?
Mother
Or
Crispy, yeah. Mother
if I say
Crispy.
Mother Pro, that might sound like I'm saying something else. So maybe not.
Yeah,
Mother
no,
Crispy's better.
We're gonna go. We'll stick with Mother Crispy. Yeah.
Mother Crispy. But yeah, so
But please tell me more.
the first little tiny criticism, or not really tiny, is what they released with Jodie Whittaker when they announced her tickets was a diamond pass, and you could buy it. It was extremely expensive. It cost £220. I'm not saying that as a flex. I'm saying it because it's a lot of money, and it will ride into my point in a minute, and it's why I'm poor now. Because, but it included a photo opportunity, an autograph, a piece of exclusive memorabilia, and also you could attend a talk, which they scheduled for the end of the day, so unfortunately I couldn't go to, because the train stopped going back home at about 8 o'clock, and her talk was 6 till 7, and we didn't want to risk it, so unfortunately I didn't even get to go to that, which breaks my heart. But my first criticism is, why couldn't you buy autographs before the convention? You actually couldn't buy any. The only way to guarantee an autograph was if that guest had a diamond pass, you get one included with that. You couldn't buy autographs
So like
or
any at all for
any
anyone.
Any
fandom.
Yeah.
For any guests.
You couldn't. I don't understand
I find that
why.
very strange. I thought it would be like easier to get an autograph
Exactly.
than a photo.
Well, you wonder. But like I remember when like MCM Comic Con in Birmingham had Tom Hiddleston. I mean, just a photo or an autograph with him was £225. Yikes. But you could buy an autograph in advance. And with David Tennant, he's going to Wales Comic Con next month. In fact, a month today, I'll be meeting David Tennant. What is going on? My life
What
is...
is life?
This is why I have no money, because I've bought all this stuff in advance. Comic Cons have literally bankrupted me. It's not even a joke. It genuinely isn't. But with David Tennant with Wales Comic Con, you can pre-order an autograph, which I have done. I've ordered a photograph and an autograph. Done. But Showmasters, they were like, no, it's too easy for you. No, autograph, dog eat dog. Dog eat dog, let's have some action. So we get there. Okay, I had the following things ordered. I had a Mandip Gill green screen photo, because you could get a normal photo or a green screen. I really, in hindsight, wish I'd just gone for the standard, because with the green screen, it was the TARDIS doors, and they weren't being socially distanced, which I was wondering whether they would or wouldn't be. The UK COVID restrictions are completely lifted, but I wasn't sure who would feel safe and who wouldn't, and for one point, Sylvester McCoy actually chose to be socially distanced. Bless him, don't blame him, fair enough. But with the green screen photos, you had to be distanced because there were TARDIS doors in the middle. So what I will do, and my mic quality is going to dip while my head turns around, but I've got pictures that I'm going to be showing on the video version, and if they don't come out well, I'll put whatever ones I can on the screen. But here is, I'll try and put it to the camera. I don't know how easy it is. Can you make that out on the camera? I think you actually kind of can.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
So
That's
that
not
is
bad.
me with
It looks
Mandip
pretty
Gill.
cool.
So yeah, it's almost kind of awkward because there's a gap between us with the TARDIS doors there, and I like how I'm kind of in front of the door. I don't think I was meant to be that close to her, but.
No, I like that.
So it's basically just
good.
like the interior of Jodie's TARDIS with the doors going outwards. That's the picture. I'm going to try and describe it as best I can for the audio listeners. Like I said, if you can watch the video version, this is probably the one to do it for. And you get to see our ugly mugs while you do it. So there's that. But that was the first thing I had booked. It wasn't that much more expensive. It was only like another £5 or £10. I thought, you know what, the green screen will want to be cool. In hindsight, having seen everyone else's photos with Mandip just in the standard booth, I wish I'd done that. It would have been much cooler. Just like give her a hug or just like do some kind of pose. That would be nicer. Know. But you don't know these things, and you know for the future.
No.
And they've both said now that they'll do more cons. Like Mandip in particular has said that there was a quote someone took from, because she had her own talk on the Sunday, and it was, I'm really sorry that I haven't got it to hand to read off by heart, but she kind of said she thought that everyone saw her kind of like. They liked seeing her with Jodie Whittaker. They kind of liked seeing her as this queer character, this person of colour who was with Jodie. She didn't realise as much people liked Yaz for Yaz herself and not just her relationship with the Doctor. That was kind of the vibe I was getting off the tweet. That's pretty much what it was saying. I've paraphrased that heavily, but she's kind of said she's realised now, and like she understands how important Yaz is to people, and she'll be going to more conventions, which is really good. I'm really glad to hear that.
Wow, that's such wholesome content.
Yeah, it is, and it's so sweet because she had so many lovely moments with people. It's honestly really nice. I've seen so many tweets and videos and stuff. Like someone was like, "Oh, Mandip FaceTime."
Twitter
like
blew
a
up.
guest gave her their iPhone, and like there was a FaceTime with another person, and Mandip was like talking to them on the FaceTime. It's so sweet. So that was the first thing I booked in the morning. The green screen. That was like at 10 in the morning, and after that, it basically just became this intense runaround of trying to get to booked photo opportunities and then trying to slide in autographs because it was a little bit hectic. So obviously I had the Diamond Pass, which I had to queue up to get in the morning, and then after that there was no queue getting into the convention, which was really good because I was worried we'd be in the lines for like half an hour or an hour. We got in there about, I want to say about 9:15. in the morning, and we were having a little wander around trying to get used to where everything was to begin with. The green screen thing was at 10 o'clock, so we roughly worked out on time. Once we'd done the green screen thing, we went to the Jodie autograph station where she was doing her autographs, just to work out what was going on. And the way it worked was they were calling all the Diamond Pass people up first for their autographs, because obviously they're the ones who are entitled to it. They bought theirs. So they were calling them up in numbers. I was like number 91, so I didn't get in immediately. They were calling like 1 to 30, then 1 to 60. Apparently they had about 320 Diamond Passes. So like, like the one big criticism I've seen is that they sold far too many of them, and it makes them look a bit like money hungry.
My gosh.
Again, I'm just talking about what I've heard and kind of what I feel. I don't want to be completely bashing on Showmasters, because it wasn't like, I enjoyed my time there, but there are definitely things they could have done better, and I do think they sold far too many Diamond Passes, because from what I've heard, what they were doing after, they were giving out these little raffle tickets almost, and what they basically did was they would give you these numbers and be like, come back at this certain time. We got there about 10:15, half 10. My mum was desperate for an autograph because she brought like a pop. She really wants to get signed. She wants to talk to Jodie for one thing. And thankfully, what I realised afterwards was when you get a Diamond Pass, you can buy multiple autographs. So I could bring my mum with me with my Diamond Pass, pay for an extra one, and she could get hers while she was with me, which I thought was quite good.
Okay, nice.
Thankfully. We didn't realise that, unfortunately, till right afterwards, and then we asked them and they went, right, go on quickly. They let us back in, which I know they should have done, so thank you to them for doing that. But it wasn't made clear to us. That's another thing. They should have made that clear, because I came out of my autograph and as I was leaving, I heard someone go, oh, can I bring this person? I thought, hang on a minute, I could do... Because my mum had been given a ticket and it said, like, number 347. They went, we're going to be honest, you're not going to get this. They said it to her face at 10 in the morning. They'd taken that many tickets that they went, you're not going to get this ticket.
At 10 in the morning?
Yeah.
So, I imagine
they went, you're not going to get this autograph signed.
To...
And it turns out they only got to about 100 in those tickets they gave out. So that says it all.
Ooh.
So many people who have gone to that convention and not got what they asked for, genuinely. And it really upsets me. Not to mention, like, just sliding me and my mum back in for her to get her autograph. I know we were entitled for me to bring her along down past and didn't know. Obviously, that will have taken another 30 seconds, minute to get us in there. So that might have begrudged someone else an autograph. So I feel bad for that person that they didn't even make that clear to us, because there could have been one less person who got one. It makes me feel guilty because I know how many people wanted to go. So I get super guilty about these things. And I'm just like,
don't dwell on it.
But genuinely. And this is the other thing, they shove people through there at a rate of knots with Jodie. There was a massive queue. It was generally like a rave or something, the amount of people that were gathered around that autograph desk at any one time. And everyone was desperate to just wait for an autograph, but it took them so long to get through. But also, Jodie had 3 different times she was doing photos that day. 4 different times, sorry. I've been saying 3 to people who've asked me so far. No, she had 4. Because she had 2 big sections of just photos. She had a green screen section, and then also a double photo op with Mandip Gill. So,
wow.
And some of her photo opportunities were like 2 hours long. How she managed to get through all those people whilst being pregnant and being run around like that, I almost feel like protective of her almost in a weird way. It's like, I don't know how she managed that. I really don't.
She is so popular.
People
say Doctor Who is popular. Dead, hey?
And you get, even still, there was someone who retweeted a picture of loads of people cosplaying as Jodie going, this shows you how the audience of Doctor Who is all just girls at this point or non-binary folks. Like, I mean, it's not. It's just they've got someone to identify with, and there are loads of people. And there were guys cosplaying as Jodie there. There were plenty of guys, which was actually quite cool to see as well, because they did say they tried to make the costume as unisex as possible, which is nice. I liked that.
Yeah, 100%.
So people are idiots sometimes.
Bugger off. Some people on Twitter.
Exactly.
No. But I'm glad a large majority of the stuff I did see on Twitter after the Comic-Con was very positive. And I saw so many videos of Mandip. The
main criticisms were the lack of organisation, not letting you buy autographs in advance, giving out too many Diamond Passes, which just, it does, as bad as it sounds, it does sound like they're just going, right, make as much money as you can, and then if they don't get autographs, whatever. Because someone did tell me a story, and if this is true, then this is horrific, but apparently they sold Diamond Passes for Christopher Eccleston a few years back, and there were a few other Doctors at this one convention. And there were so many different photo opportunities, like Chris on his own, Chris with David, Chris with Matt, Chris with whoever, that people who'd bought Diamond Passes for Chris didn't even get the autographs they'd paid for and were entitled to. There wasn't even enough time to honour all of those. So this sounds like it's an issue ongoing with them, with autographs and Diamond Passes.
Yeah.
So my main thing is, you've got to fix that. Because it sounds like it's a mess you keep making, and it's not good.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me feel like, unless there's someone they announce in the future that's got a Diamond Pass and I can afford it and I really want to buy it, I might steer clear of those cons. And I don't want to feel like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like...
No. Of course you don't want to feel like that. I mean, you had an incredible experience, but, there's a chance that, your day's getting messed around due to poor organization. So
you just worry that you'll get people who will go miles and miles and miles and not get what they want. And that breaks my heart. It really does. So that's my little segment talking about the downsides. I don't want to be down the whole way thing, but I did want to say some of that stuff because there were a lot of people who were saying certain things, and I kind of felt like it was worth talking about because it just wasn't ideal. So yeah, that kind of gives you an idea of how hectic this was, and that's why when I'm talking through some of this stuff, my brain might get a bit muddled. So bear with me. Let's go through some of the other pictures I got. So the thing I'm showing on screen now, this was the free gift that we got with the Diamond Pass, which was a print from, I believe this is Praxia. Seems like the beach from Praxius, yeah. So it's like an A3 print, which is quite cool. We had to buy the print holders for it, but, it's whatever. So there was that. I kind of wish I got her to sign this, to be honest, but it is what it is. Because what happened was, when my mum went back in to get hers that I should have got with my Diamond Pass, I came with her and I went, right, I'll get something else signed. I might as well. I'll pay the bit extra because I had a little bit left over. I went, right, I'll get one more thing signed. So... let's go through... shall I do autographs or signatures first? What shall I do? What should be cooler?
Autographs or signatures?
Autographs. Or signatures. Go on, you pick.
Wait, aren't they the same thing?
Oh, or photos. My brain's not working. I was like,
is there a difference? Am I just a dumb Australian? Am I a silly Australian? I would love to see the autographs first, and then
gotcha.
save the photos, please.
I think I mentioned this to you in one of the previous episodes. I don't know. I know that you at least know this.
I think you did.
I own one of 1,300. I can't believe I have one still. It's crazy. Of the San Diego Comic Con 13th Dr. Pops, which has got the coat on. It was like a first to market thing. They did it exclusively for that con and never went anywhere else. And shout out to Dave over at Forbidden Planet, who I don't even know if he works there anymore. He was an absolute king. I said to him like miles ahead of time, I was like, if you get any of those pops in, can you let me know? Because I didn't think he would get one in because it was just impossible to source them. And he was like, if we get one in, I'll let you know. And I got an email on a random day when I was going into town anyway, and he was like, so we got 4 of these pops in. If you come and get it today, I will hold it behind the desk for a couple hours. And I emailed him and went, I am coming, keep it there. So I got it. That thing goes for ridiculous prices on eBay now. So I'm very fortunate that I got it, because it's literally my most prized possession, and I have a lot of pops. I don't think I've shown the cupboard on screen before, and at some point I will.
You have.
At some point, I will.
Plant the seed now.
Yeah, we've got so much to talk. We've already been going for about 40 minutes, so we can't stretch it out too much more. But I managed to get Jodie to sign it. It was my one goal from the convention, and she signed it to Troy. Now, there's a funny story behind that, because I didn't know this, but at the convention, there was a sign by Jodie's autograph booth that said, no personalizations. Exactly.
What?
Your face says it all. I did not know that. I did not see the sign. I had no clue. But apparently, you were not allowed to ask for personalization to people being told they couldn't. So I feel almost a little bit guilty that I did this, but I didn't have a clue, so it's not really my fault. But I gave the pop to Jodie the first time around when I was getting the autograph before we came back just after. And I just went, could you write it out to Troy, please? And she went, yeah. So she just wrote out to Troy. I took it, and as I walked off, I bumped into a couple people I knew on Twitter. And I think it was T, shout out T, hello Benjamin on Twitter. They're an absolute angel, and it was so nice to meet them. But she went, you got that personalised? I was like, yeah. They went, you can't do that. And she went, what? There's literally a sign that said no personalizations. And obviously, once I turned around and got the one from Mum, I saw the sign and went, oh. What? So obviously we couldn't ask then because there were people that were pushing. But I think at that time, no one was there at that moment. So I must have just got super lucky. Which makes it all the more special, because I don't know how many other people managed to get personalizations, so...
You're lucky.
I don't know what happened there. Very, very happy, but also just like... I don't know. Same thing happened with Mandip Gill. Again, hers was chaos. That was the only other thing. They put her in with all the other, there was a general autograph area. Rich D. Grant and Jodie Whittaker had their own, autograph booths with huge crowds. Mandip was with everybody else who, they knew they weren't going to get maybe as many autographs, so people could kind of stand and have a conversation. They grossly underestimated how popular Mandip was, and apparently half the staff couldn't even say her name right, which I really hope isn't true.
No.
Especially when it's in her bio that it's Mandip, not Mandip, and I think a lot of people were saying Mandip, so I really hope that's not true. Really do. But there was so many people that genuinely, there was an aisle blocked from the queue right the way across the day. It was ridiculous. Fortunately, we got there to get a ticket, but it was about the same thing as Jodie Whittaker, where if you'd been much later, you wouldn't have got an autograph. There were probably loads of people that didn't get one. But just a little message to Funko. Why is there not a Yaz pop yet? Because there should be.
Yeah, what's up with that?
But there's a lot of them. They haven't done Doc 2 pops now for about 3 years. So I don't know, maybe they've stopped doing it. or something. It's really odd, but I instead decided to get a standard 13th Doctor because I didn't have two of those ones. But I got her to write my good-hearted weirdo on it because I thought that was a good little reference with it being a Jodie pop. Thought that was quite sweet.
That's so. Did you ask her to write that? And did she like smile?
I did. She was like, "Oh yeah, I'll write that down." It was a little bit of a rush again because everyone was being kind of shoved at her. And it was the same thing as Jodie. I feel like it was a lot of kind of like throwing people at them. You didn't really have much time for a conversation. It was just kind of like autograph by, and it was the same thing with Mandip. Apparently on the Sunday, Jodie Whittaker wasn't there. She was there Saturday only. On the Sunday, they moved Mandip into Jodie's booth, and things ran a bit smoother. So at least they know for the future that don't undersell Mandip Gill. Don't do that.
Never.
Don't do that.
If there's one thing you're taking away from today's podcast, that is the message.
Yeah,
that is the message.
She was absolutely lovely. They both were absolutely lovely. They were so sweet. So that's the autographs. There were a couple of others, but we'll get there with pictures. So we'll do photographs first. So here is my photo with Jodie Whittaker. I've got the digital version of this, so I will overlay it on the podcast. You can buy digital versions for all the photos, but they cost £5 each. And I was like, right, for now, I'm just going to get the one with Jodie and the one with Jodie and Mandip, which I'll get to in a minute. I won't get the rest of them, so I might do that later. But money is a thing I don't have. So I'll show you, but there'll be a proper overlay in a minute. That's me with Jodie. Which I love that photo.
It's sensational.
The more I look at that photo, the more I love it.
Unreal.
I know. I absolutely adore that photo. Because I feel like I'm very judgmental of myself. And I feel like I can't smile very well on photos. I'm not very photogenic with that.
That's a great smile.
But yeah, the more I look at it, the more I really like it. It's just a great picture. And I'm going to put it up somewhere in this room.
So nice.
So maybe in the future, in my setup, you might see the pictures behind me on the wall. Who knows? But then just after that, there was the photo with Jodie and Mandip, which I also thought was absolutely brilliant, and it made me wish I got one with Mandip without the green screen. So there is that photo.
Oh, it's so cool. It's so cool.
I feel really bad because you weren't there. Unreal. I don't want to be like...
No, but I'd give anything to be there, and I'm glad I can live vicariously through you right now.
But they have they do Comic Cons in Australia, surely. There must be one they'll go to at some point now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's harder to travel to... Australia. Then,
but I feel like it'll probably be better because, I think a lot of the thing was this was Jodie's first Comic Con. That probably didn't help with the disorganization. But I mean, a lot of that was down to why don't you just let people pay for autographs? But that's by the by. I feel like it's more chaotic now because A, it's her first appearance at a Comic Con properly, and B, it's like she's still the current Doctor, so she's even more topical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it'll be quieter and calmer after that. Hot property. So we got the photo with Mandip with the green screen that I've already shown you. Every time you get an autograph, you can get a print. You can get it to have it signed. If you got your own thing, you can get your own thing signed, as I've shown with the pops. But you can still take a print anyway. So I got the Jodie print of her with the fob watch, which I love. I love that flux art. I think that's my favorite 13th Doctor
really
picture. I think I love that one.
I don't think I've seen that picture.
You haven't seen it? They posted it just after the Vanquishers came out.
Oh wow! No, I dig that.
Nah, it's a very, very cool one. I got this one of Mandip, which I really like.
Oh, nice.
We showed her the print and said we really liked it, and she went, "Oh, it's the power of Photoshop and airbrushing," and I was like, "Oh, well, no." I just thought you looked good, but okay. I guess they're photoshopping everything these days. And then I also got this one of Colin Baker. For some reason, I didn't take a Sylvester McCoy one. I think my brain was muddled by the time I got round to him because I was doing so much that day. I really wish I got a Sylvester McCoy one. Don't know what I was thinking. So those are the ones didn't get signed. But like I said, we ended up going back to Jodie to get me her one very quickly after seeing mine. So I did get another print, and that's what I got signed from her the second time. So I got this one. And you can see the signature on it.
It's so cool.
I need somewhere to put this. You see, the thing is, I can't decide whether to put this stuff on my wall as part of my setup or to get one of those, those proper, scrapbook type things where you put, autographs and pictures and stuff in. I don't know which one of those two to go for. I don't know. Because I like the idea of an autograph
That's with you, my
book,
friend.
But I know.
That's with you.
I'll have to really think it through. I will have to.
Keep us updated, please.
But then we have Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy. So with them, what I decided I wanted to do, because again, there's no 6th Doctor or 7th Doctor pop vinyls. Again, there's such a good opportunity for this stuff, and it honestly feels like it's being squandered. But whatever.
There's a market.
They'll still release McDonald's pops and all sorts of stuff like that. Funko are just very strange. They release so many things, and this is just someone who collects a lot of them, who kind of loves a lot of different things they release. And you look at them and you go, why have you released those? Are there a lot of people buying McDonald's pops?
I don't know.
Who really wants
I didn't
Grimace?
know they existed.
Who wants Grimace as a pop vinyl? I don't know anyone who wants that. I don't know anyone.
Not me personally. It is what it is.
It is what it is. I'm glad. Thank you for filling the air there, because I just thought that was a great opportunity to have a drink.
If your throat's still sore from your big rager of a gig, let me know. I'll chat and you can have a drinks break, mate. Don't worry about it.
Screaming a nice bit of television romance and just, shouting all the lyrics. Great time. My mum just kept looking at me because she was like impressed at how many songs I was singing all the words along to. Because I love how she just comes along to most stuff with me. Whenever I'm like going and I haven't got someone to go with, if she likes something, she just goes, I'll come with you. And she really likes them as well. I get her into so much stuff. I feel sorry for her, just pull her into so many different things.
That's good. She met Jodie Whittaker out of
it. She did.
You can't be too mad.
So with Colin and Sylvester, what I wanted to do was get them to sign their photos because they didn't really have any specific merch that meant anything. So I thought, you know what? I'll get him to sign the photos. That'll be really nice. So with Colin Baker, his photo opportunity was really late in the day. It was about 5:10, and we knew he wanted to get going after that as soon as possible because we wanted to make sure we got a train. So we were worried. We weren't sure if he was going to be able to do any quick signatures after the photo opportunity. So we went to speak to him beforehand. And that's what was really nice. Like, there wasn't like a massive crowd around him. There were people getting their photos and talking and stuff. It was much more chill with him. So I literally just got to walk up to him and just say, hi. So I've got a photo with you in a minute. It's like, oh, right, okay. He's a lovely bloke, Colin. He's so lovely. He's the sweetest person. And I just basically said to him, if I can, I'd like to get the photo signed rather than just a print. Are you going to come back and do any signatures? He went, oh, it's quite late, isn't it? And this is not a good Colin impression, but he's like proper like formal.
I felt it.
Proper formal. He's like, oh, well, it's quite a late. I was making him sound like Boris Johnson. It's not the intention. And he went, well, it's, what time is it? What time is the photo up? He had someone next to him, and she was just kind of going, it's till about 5:30. He went, oh, I think we can manage that. He went, when you get the photo opportunity, come straight back here, even if I'm not there yet, and I'll come over and I'll sign it. And I was like, thanks very much. There were a few people who did that, thankfully, so it wasn't just me.
That's awesome.
But this is genuinely, I think, my favourite photo. I think maybe just because the way I look in it, I don't know. But I absolutely love this photo with Colin. There's loads of like fluff on these. I don't know where they come from. I think it's because I laid them out on my floor, which is, suggests I need to hoover.
That's really nice.
Yeah,
that
so
is
I love
really
that.
Nice.
I love that. I think that's a really cool photo.
So cool.
Yeah.
What a signature too. Wow.
I know. Yeah, that was a wild signature. I'm going to see if I can get the digital version and put it on screen. If I can afford it, I'll put it on screen during the edit, but maybe I can't. We'll see. So that was lovely. And then Sylvester was easy because his photo opportunity was about 3:00. One thing I will say, I'm kind of sad because Bernard Cribbins cancelled. They filled his photo slot with Sylvester McCoy doing a 7th Doctor cosplay photo shoot as like an extra thing. So mine wasn't with him in the cosplay because I booked it miles ahead when Bernard was still meant to be there. Yeah. I didn't realise, apparently if you'd have gone to the sales desk, they might have upgraded you because it cost a little bit more. I really wish I'd done that because that would have been really cool because it would have been 2 people in Doctor outfits, would have been nice. But either way, He's a lovely guy. There was, everyone was queued outside the photo booth and he just walked past the lunch and went beep, beep. Like, he's just like, he's like a dead short, like, energetic man. I love him so much.
Yeah.
But like I said, he wants to be socially distanced, but that actually lended very well for the signature because he filled in the gap in the photo with his signature and it looked really good. So you've got this, which I thought was really cool. He was doing this kind of like holding the lapel pose, so I just joined in with him.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And what I love is that he I think he does this with all of his autographs where he does the loop on McCoy and then puts 7 in the Y. I like watching him do it. I was like, wow, that's like an art. Like, he's practiced that, definitely.
I like how he said to Troy, hi.
Yeah, because he was like, what do you want me to write? I was like, can you write it to Troy? And I didn't know what else I wanted him to say. I was like, what do I say? I mean, like, his opening in Time of the Rani is iconic, but I'm not going to get him to write, who am I, where am I, who am I, and who are you? Like, that would take him ages to write.
Who are you?
But, so I just thought, I've just put it to Troy. And he just put, hi. It's like, okay, that's cool.
That's so sweet.
So those are all the photos and autographs, which is a lot of stuff.
Unreal.
It's kind of chaotic. But
I am
my voice going there.
So jealous. I am so jealous.
Honestly,
have some water, mate. Have some water. I'll tide you over if you want some water.
Yes, fill the air. Tell a joke.
Tell her. I'm not telling another joke. I think Dr. Moo is peak. Who's their podcast comedy?
I'm not even sure that's going to be in the intro. That was awful.
Oh. Did we cut that? Can I tell the joke?
I don't know. There were a couple of different intro options. We were kind of talking about making a gag for the intro, so we had a couple of different things while we were talking.
We had a couple of different...
I don't know which one I'm going to use. It might be talking about my throat, because that's a good... that sounds weird, but it's a good precursor.
Keep that.
Go on. We'll keep that. What's here? This is me editing during the recording. How cool is this? Go on. Tell everyone your terrible joke. Go on. I thought I'd saved everyone from it, but apparently I'm not saving anyone from it.
I've forgotten it now. I'll save it for the next episode.
Oh no, I know it. Do you want me to repeat it? Because it's not with my brain. I hate it. But
I would love it. Please say it back to me. He said,
"What do you call a time-traveling cow?"
What do you call a time-traveling cow?
You call them Dr. Moo. Exactly. Terrible joke. Let's move on. No, it's not comedy.
At its finest.
He literally pulled it from a Reddit page, so like you can't even act like it's his own joke.
Like most of my content.
And I'm glad, because if it was his own joke, I would probably disown him, and this would be a solo podcast.
This would be I wouldn't blame you, mate. I wouldn't blame you. I'd start Moose there, a Doctor Who podcast. So
Shut up.
But regardless, Troy, I'm glad you shared your experiences.
It was crazy
at the con, because that does sound like a hectic day. But my goodness, you got a lot out of it.
But it means I saw Jodie about like 4 times. And what was funny was the last time, because I saw her for my photo, the photo with her and Mandip, I saw her for the autograph, and then like not long after bringing my mum back to get her autograph. And the last time that I saw her, she looked at me and she kind of recognized me. I think by this point she'd seen me a couple of times, and she went, "Are you not sick of queuing?" I was like, "No, it's worth it. I promise it's worth it." She was laughing because I don't know. She must have had a lot of people who were doing that, who were like getting autographs.
Who were doing the same thing.
I mean, there were 300 plus people with diamond passes, so there'll be at least
a lot of people in the same boat. As you.
Who have seen her more than once for at least the photo and the autograph. But for anything else on top, that suddenly that will make it that will mean you see her a bunch of times. The last time I saw her, which wasn't her directly, kind of, there was a cosplay meetup in the mid-afternoon that they were doing in like the main stage, like a convention in the convention hall. And so everyone who had a Doctor Who cosplay was going to get together and take a photo. There was a video recorded. You can see me in it for a very brief second, and my mum, which is quite sweet. The pictures you can't really see. You can see my like sticky, because you can't see in the video, but like I have like kind of like a pompadour style thing. If you ever seen the video for Pompeii by Bastille, the lead singer's haircut. That's literally where the idea came from. But it's that hairstyle and ginger. So you can kind of see this kind of ginger spike coming up behind someone's head.
The ginger spiky boy.
Yeah. But we were just going to go to the meetup because we thought it'd be nice. And then someone mentioned, they went, you know, there's a chance Jodie might actually be there. And I thought about it and I went, why have I not considered this? Because at MCM Birmingham last year, there was because like I said about the Tom Hiddleston meetup, they did a big Loki cosplay, and then he crept up behind them from the stage and just scared everyone and was like, oh, these are great cosplays. And then someone said that when I was queuing for something, and I thought, that's a really good point. They said she wasn't going to get back to her desk like for autographs. They were kind of talking through the plan for like photos and autographs, and they went, she's not going to be back till about 3:20. And we realised that she finished her photo opportunity that she was doing at that time at 3:00, and the meetup was 3:05 to 3:20. So I thought, what's she doing in those 20 minutes? And then I went, hang on a minute. So everyone's posing for these photographs, and all of a sudden she just kind of creeps up behind and goes, hello, and then everyone turns around and goes, oh, it's Jodie!
Oh, it's Jodie Whittaker.
So that was lovely.
That's so sweet.
And she literally just grabbed someone's sonic screwdriver. I don't know whether they were trying to give it to her, but it was like aimed right up in her face, so she just kind of took it and posed with it.
She just went, yunk.
But the person she took it off, I think she kind of just turned around and looked up and was like, she took this sonic!
What an honour. What an absolute honour.
Honestly, but it was just generally, the whole thing was just so cool. So I think it could have had a bit of better organisation, let you book the autographs in advance, and also, the weird thing was there were a lot of people during the day that were just waiting around the floor. Maybe there wasn't just quite as much to do in the hall as other conventions, I feel like. There were a lot of stalls, but there weren't as many as, like, other conventions I've been to. So I feel like once you're between photos and autographs, just kind of waiting for the next one, and there were a lot of people just kind of sitting around having catch-ups. But what was really sweet for me is you've got all these, like, what do they call them on Twitter? Thassies? All the Thasmin fans and all that.
Yeah.
Like, I've become super good friends, and I see a lot of it. Like, I know a couple of them, like I said, I mentioned I met 1 or 2 people that I knew, but there are so many people that are in so many different friend groups or collective friend groups, and just seeing, like, either them meeting up in person, because I, like, saw in the distance some people, like, hanging out and being like, oh, hi, and then just on Twitter, like, everyone going crazy, like, I can't believe I met this person or this person. Like the one that I met, T, I'm just talking about them loads. They're getting a massive shout out here, but I saw them put a picture up of Mandip with them and 5 of their friends, like in one big group shot. And I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. That is so really sweet. Cool. There's so many things like that, that were just so nice to see. Genuinely, it was lovely. So it was honestly, it was just a lovely vibe. There was a really great vibe there that everyone was there for Jodie, and I think what's special about it is, you see all this stuff that we've talked about before, all this hatred of like, oh, Jodie Whittaker's Doctor's terrible, Chris Chibnall is awful, Rusty Davies needs to decanonise it, all this stuff. If you don't like the era, like we've said in the past, perfectly valid. We've all got our opinions, but when you're an absolute arse about it, I can say arse in a clean podcast.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. Thank you, Spotify. When you are an arse about it, just go away. There's no need for it, right? You can not like something without being a tool over it.
Yeah.
So it's when you see a lot of that hatred online, and then you see the amount of love that was there in person for everybody hanging out and meeting up with Jodie,
tangible,
just wanting to be there. It was such a lovely atmosphere. Genuinely, I absolutely adored it. It was so much fun.
I really like that.
It's so crazy that she is like the first Doctor I've properly actually met and like spoken to properly, and had a photo with. And now I'm gonna try and meet as many as possible. We've met 13, we've met 6, we've met 7. Kind of seen 8 in like a live conversation thing, but I'm not counting as meeting him because I didn't actually go up and have a conversation, unfortunately. We got Tennant next month, So I've still got a few others I need to arrange.
You're gonna beat me. You're gonna beat me.
Next conventions.
I've only met 3.
I know, because what we were going to do in this episode at the end was we were going to talk about who we'd met previously, but we are like cramping up on runtime.
Running out of time.
Yeah.
Can I list them off quickly just to?
Well, you can list it off
flex?
quickly, and then what we can do is we can talk a little bit as like a segment, maybe next week if we have like a bit of time.
Next week for the 60th. Yeah. So,
absolutely. Because I want you to have something to show off. Because I feel like I've kind of dominated here, which we knew was going to happen.
No, this is of course it was inevitable. Like today is your episode, and I'm glad because I needed to listen to this podcast more than anyone. I needed to hear your story, mate. I needed to hear your story, and I'm really glad. I'm really glad you had a good time.
Thank you.
So I met. The one that Troy always brings up, Peter Capaldi, and absolutely unreal, just to hear
Crispy.
him go, hello, Crispy, like it's literally life-changing. And then he made a comment being like, oh, you kind of look like Matt Smith, and that just like does my head in. And I don't know if I ever told you, he sent me a Christmas card one year. Did I tell you that?
I don't think you did.
Well, Peter Capaldi sent me a Christmas card one year and said, thank you for the wonderful rap, because I did like a I Heart the Doctor video. Anyway, it's a long story. But that was unreal, and that made my Christmas day. It's currently hanging up in my kitchen here. So I met Peter Capaldi. Single teardrop
for the listeners, I'm just doing the single tear on my face because I'm crying right now.
Don't worry. You'll meet him one day, and I'll try and be in the UK for it. So I've also met Jenna Coleman, which was very nice. I got a photo with her in Brisbane and then went to the same like convention but in Sydney and got her autograph there. And she's like, "Oh, weren't you in Brisbane?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Wow." And then my mates made comments being like, "You just don't leave her alone, do you?" Like, no, couldn't. And so she says like to Crispy on the thing, it's all very wholesome. And then I was at the Doctor Who festival, and I was doing all of the Periscope live stream interviews for the BBC there. So I met a ridiculous amount of people in one day. I couldn't be there for 2 days because I had to go to Fiji the next day. Long story, but
this is going to be a great. We're gonna have some proper time towards this.
I know. But on that one day, I managed to meet Sylvester McCoy. He is very funny, as you know. Ingrid Oliver, Dan Starkey, Mark Gatiss, Stephen Moffat.
Yeah, you still win. Just on a sheer quantity.
It's not a competition, mate. But yeah,
it says the man listing them all off.
Says the man. Yeah, I know.
No, honestly, it's valid.
I think that might be it. And then I also managed to interview Peter. I met Peter Davison backstage at the Symphonic Spectacular when they had it in Sydney, and I got to spend some time with him.
The Symphonic Spectacular,
incredibly nice. The Symphonic Spectacular. Did you not have that in the UK?
We had the proms, like Doctor Who at the proms.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Maybe it was just an Australia-New Zealand thing. Yeah, it was basically like a baby
we might have
proms.
had it. I don't know. I think there was one that I missed, so it could have been that. I should have gone to. I don't know.
But yeah, the Symphonic Spectacular. Yeah, I was part of the crew for that, and I did some interviews there as well. But the main one was for Peter Davison. But I also met Ben Foster, the guy that conducts the proms. We had a massive chat. Yeah, we hung out literally the entire night.
Wow.
It was surreal. And I think I was in my final year of school at the time. So it was like, it was just a big brand new world. And, I finally felt like I was growing up doing all these grown up interviews and stuff. But yeah, we can save all that for another time. But yeah, I think that's everyone. Matt Lucas made a video for my channel and follows me on Twitter and Instagram, and the only picture he's ever liked on my Instagram is me in a tutu. So
amazing. I don't know why you still haven't DM'd him and asked him to follow me yet, but
he doesn't read his DMs anymore.
Oh, of course, that's the excuse.
He made that very explicit in his Twitter bio because I tried to hit him up for HooTube Rewind 2020. And he never
came back. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Well, we can talk about all of those as a separate bit. I can also mention meeting Alex Kingston and John Bishop because I've got those stories to tell as well. I can say I've met the whole Flux team now, which is kind of cool. Just realised that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my! We might have to make a separate episode as to like all the cast, like deep dive into all of those stories. I feel like that'll make an excellent episode.
But I think that's a good point to wrap it up. I think. Wow, that's a hectic hour. We're talking about 6th anniversary, and then we're talking about all that stuff at Comic-Con. I hope I've not missed anything out in my head. I don't believe I have. It's just been an absolutely amazing time. I had such a blast, and it was just It was brill.
I'm glad you did,
really,
mate.
really good.
I'm incredibly jealous, and no doubt, if I am ever fortunate enough to visit your part of the world, and there is a con on at all, we are going. I don't care how broke you are. I will carry you myself. I will smuggle you in.
You gonna pay for my diamond pass?
I will. No, we're not.
Yeah.
We're not getting diamond passes.
We might need to at that place. I'm just saying.
Yeah, true. True.
Here's hoping they improve it, because they've got a really good con on their hands there that just has a few improvements that could be made. But an absolutely great time, and I've no doubt Jodie and Mandip will do more cons in the future. I mean, Mandip, bless us, done
Absolutely.
2 back-to-back, weekend to weekend. She was in Gallifrey 1 the week
Legend.
before last, and then this weekend
Absolute
just gone. She's
legend.
in London for 2 days. I mean, blimey. So she'll do more, no doubt. I've no doubt she'll do more. But thank you all very much for watching / listening. I hope that me rambling about a Comic-Con for 40 minutes after about 20 minutes of 60th anniversary banter was enjoyable for you. If it was, on YouTube, make sure you like the video and subscribe so stay in tune with future podcast episodes. And if you're listening, make sure you're following the podcast. Make sure you've rated the podcast 5 stars. And on Spotify, Q&A and poll. Answer them both, and you could be involved in next week's episode. It'll be very cool to get some more questions in to talk about. So next week, we're going to be talking more specifically about 60th anniversary, what we'd like to see in it, who we'd like to see come back, what kind of plot lines, storylines, that kind of thing. So make sure you let us know on all the usual socials, at Who's There DW, link on Instagram and Twitter, and then YouTube comments, Spotify Q&A, all that stuff. Who do you want to see back? What would you like to see happen? Who do you think might come back, won't come back? Be realistic, or be optimistic, or be pessimistic, whatever you like, I don't care. But throw your opinions at us, and we'll pick out a couple to talk about next week. So with that in mind, thank you all very much for listening, and we'll speak to you next time on Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast. And we leave you with our outro theme, which we haven't credited for the last couple of times.
Yeah.
But shout out to Sammy Chu for writing that.
Shout out to Sammy Chu.
Yeah, they're in the description of YouTube anyway. But like, that was an amazing theme. Yeah,
he made incredible theme for us, and he turned it around like that. I was like, we want something kind of Doctor Who-y, but not with the same melody. And he just went, oh yeah, no worries.
Boom. He had that up his sleeve. He was ready.
Yeah,
but it's brilliant.
So thank you very much.
Yeah,
go and check him out.
And enjoy the outro as always. So thank you very much, and we'll see you all next Saturday for episode 4 of Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast. Until then, thanks for listening, and we'll see you all soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.